my grandfather was eating menudo that he made himself. And I come inside. He was just sitting there with his head down, and he's just choking. On Rescue 911, I learned the heimlich maneuver and just stay calm at all times, no matter what happens. So I get behind him, put my arms around him, and push. He looked scared. He was really choking. So I figured it was still in there, so I do it again. And it stopped, and I looked around him to see if anything came out, and a big piece of meat came out.
I started to breathe again. But I collapsed. I fell down on my face right in the kitchen. When I came to, all I saw was black shoes. The firemen were all around me, the paramedics. I don't believe I would be here at this time without the help of my grandson, Kevin. He did save my life. And I'm very grateful to him. Love him a lot.
He saved my husband. And we're all thankful. Because these things can happen at any time to anybody. And if your kids are afraid and they have no idea what to do, then you're losing somebody that you love.
He does things for me. He just likes helping other people. I love him.
I'm real proud of Kevin. He's my #1 man, I tell him. You're my man.
Each year in this country, nearly 8,000 children die from preventable injuries. As parents, we try to make our homes safe from anything that could pose a threat to our kids. But on January 12th, 1993, while Kim Dittmeyer was at home in Germantown, Maryland, looking after her 2-year-old son, Kevin, she found out that in certain situations, almost any object can be dangerous.
Just sit down, Pooter. Okay? Gotta eat some lunch. Don't want you to fall out of the chair. Pooter usually is not a very good eater. Good boy. I can beg him to take one bite. He may take a bite. Can you take a bite of your sandwich for me? One more bite, and I'll be happy. Can you take one more bite? You don't want any more sandwich? Where are you going, boy? Where are you going? Come here. Finally got to the point where, okay, I'm done eating. I'm not sitting here any longer and begging you to come back to the table. And so I told Pooter, let's go and brush our teeth, which he's very excited about because he loves to brush his teeth.
Brush on your teeth. Teeth like it.
I think he likes the toothpaste more than anything because normally he'll suck the toothpaste off if I let him.
I'm just going to rinse, and then we'll rinse your mouth, okay? Such a big boy brushing your own teeth. Pooter, are you okay?
It was a real typical cry like I'd heard him do when he's frustrated. But then I thought the toothbrush is in his mouth.
God, what happened? What happened? Oh, my goodness, I got to sit you up. I got to sit you up. Honey, I know.
I tried to see if I could move it, and it was definitely stuck in the back of his throat. And I could tell the toothbrush was definitely deep in because it wasn't sticking out as much as it should.
God, it's got to be in your throat. Oh, my goodness. You got to listen to me, honey, okay? Got to listen really close. Keep your arms out like this. Don't touch the toothbrush.
I knew if he flailed at it, he could rupture something.
And he fell on it. It stuck in the back of his throat. I need an ambulance.
It actually sounded good to hear him cry because I knew he was breathing.
Emergency responders were immediately dispatched to the scene.
My mind went back to a Rescue 911 show that I saw.
If you don't cry, it won't hurt so bad.
Through the whole show, they kept impressing on how important it was that if we are ever stabbed, to leave the object in because it may be acting as a natural cork.
Don't touch the toothbrush. I'm coming right back. Coming right back. I'm right here. I'm right here. Oh, my God, they're not here yet. Don't touch the toothbrush. Keep your arms out, okay? Oh, God, please help us. Okay, there they are. Here we go.
Within 4 minutes, rescue workers, including paramedic Sherry Markwood, arrived to treat the little boy.
I looked into his mouth to make sure that his airway was not obstructed, and it wasn't. But I could not see the bristles of the toothbrush. It was buried that far. I was amazed. I had not seen anything impaled into a mouth like that before. But it's a protocol that you never remove anything that's impaled. You package it to where it's stabilized and it won't come out by itself. You let the doctors take it out.
2-year-old Kevin was briefly examined at a local hospital, then transferred to Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C., and put under the care of emergency physician Bob Belfer.
It was a perplexing problem. With penetrating injuries to the mouth, there's a death rate of up to 30%. I urgently wanted to obtain some consultation with doctors who may have been more familiar with this type problem.
I know it hurts real bad, honey.
Kevin's father followed the boy and his mother to the hospital.
It was a little frustrating just because he was there, he was in pain. The bleeding was picking up a little bit, but I could see they were doing everything that they could.
This looks to be only millimeters away. It's very close to the carotid artery. I don't think we can be sure that if we remove that, there wouldn't be significant bleeding.
Ear, nose, and throat specialist Dr. Sharon Tomasky was one of the experts called in.
It's always difficult to talk to the parents. We must tell them every potential complication that could happen right next to and touching the carotid artery. And we don't think we're going to have to pinch it off. But if we did have to pinch
None of the doctors had ever seen this before. They knew that they had to pull the toothbrush out, but the biggest problem was how do we get it out and hold the artery together?
And we'll do our very best. And we'll have...
It was pretty heart-wrenching to know that when he has the surgery that's supposed to help him, it may kill him.
Got his head real still so he doesn't shake. Good. Everybody ready?
That's
a boy. Yes. Okay, on the count of 3, he's all yours. As close to the teeth.
Dr. Kenneth Grunfast headed up the surgical team that performed the delicate operation.
Perfect.
The critical decision was that the safest thing to do would be putting a loop around each of the 3 main blood vessels and then going into the mouth and removing the toothbrush so that in the event there was major bleeding, we would be all ready to just tie off the blood vessels and he wouldn't lose that much blood.
Here's the blue loop around the common carotid artery, and this loop is around the external carotid.
More than 2 hours passed with no word.
Poor old guy, he was so scared.
Okay.
Is it coming out easily?
Looks okay.
See any bleeding?
Not yet. Okay, we got it.
Great. Mr. and Mrs. Dittmeyer?
I think the hospital did a great job. All the staff kept us real calm, kept us very informed, and they were just the best at what they do. Pooter came out just fine without any injury at all, without any side effects at all. Everybody kept saying, "You are so lucky. You are so incredibly lucky to have this kid alive." And they've asked me several times, "How did you know to leave that toothbrush alone?" And I always told them it was something I saw on Rescue 911. And it was very important that I did, because Pooter would not be here today had I not seen that show.
Kevin's mom did exactly the right thing. If she had struggled to get the toothbrush out, he could have bled to death right in front of her eyes.
Whoa, that was a very good eye, though. You watched.
It would have been a horrible thing to have lost him. And just realize that you appreciate him and love him more than you ever thought you did.
Okay, you ready? Are you ready?
Ready? Here we go.
Don't ever let children run around with things in their mouths.
Very good. What a hit, Pooter.
When I look at my little boy, I see a little kid who came this close to being dead. And he just continues to amaze me every day. I think he's the smartest, cutest little guy in the world.
Good.
And I'm so glad that he's here.